What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update for you guys. And seeing as the Premier League has stopped, the World Cup's about to start, and there's only a couple of games to go till the transfer window opens. So I think the silly season has already begun with all the transfer rumours and stuff like that. But the first story we've got to bring to you is about Cristian Romero, and a lot has been made out of Cristian Romero. A lot of Spurs fans going overboard, saying, how can he be in Argentina training just after the Spurs season has just been stopped, and he wasn't even watching the game when Spurs beat Leeds and all that kind of stuff.
I've never seen so much anger from just a picture of him walking in.
I know, and like they were saying, Sonny was watching it. Why couldn't Cristian Romero watch? Where's Cristian Romero been the last 4 games? He must be doing the dirty on Spurs and all this kind of stuff. But it's clear now that he's clearly wasn't fit enough to play, because Argentina boss Lionel Scaloni came out and said that he may not risk players that are not fully fit for this friendly they have today against UAE. They're actually playing right now. And
Romero is not in the squad.
And Romero is not in the squad at all. So case closed, right?
In my opinion, some people still claim that doesn't mean anything, and he wouldn't have played anyway, and it doesn't matter. It sometimes
they've got a full-strength team out, but with Cristian Romero.
But it doesn't mean anything, because he wasn't going to play anyway. It's all PR. He told the team, look, the heat's on me, just leave me out of this one, even though I'm 100% playing. And Messi is playing, got an assist.
Well, there you go.
So, look, for me, it's case closed. He's clearly not 100% fit, and probably wasn't 100% fit to play for Spurs. People want to believe what they want to believe. I don't think Romero would. I think Romero would have played for us if he was available. Conte said it himself that that Romero risked injury to play in that Sporting game. So for me, all signs point to Romero being left out of the Spurs team because he wasn't fit enough, and he's just about made it in time for the World Cup, and probably will be fit for the first game. But as of now, there's a friendly going on tonight to build up match fitness and stuff, and he's not available to play because he's, as the man said, he's not 100%. So for me, that points to the fact that he probably wasn't fit enough for Spurs.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I think we can... case closed. We can close that case on Cristian Romero and hope he has a good World Cup. Let's move on to a bit of transfer stories for you. This one from Fabrizio Romano on Ruslan Malinowskyi once again, and he says Tottenham still appreciate Atalanta midfielder Malinovskyi, having failed to sign him in the summer. Do you feel like this is a player that we will go in for in January?
Knowing Levy, yes, because he's the cheap option and low risk, high reward, but also potential low reward. Obviously, he's been in and out the team, hasn't he, for Atalanta this season? He hasn't exactly pulled up any trees despite quite a positive start to the season. I've been quite vocal about the disappointment of the fact that if we do sign him, we could have easily got him in the summer, so it's a bit frustrating why we delayed the signing. But he is a good player. I mean, I would like to see us go for a higher caliber, to be honest, as much as I do value him as a good attacker. I do think there are maybe younger, better alternatives we can go for, but again, they're going to cost more money. So knowing our ownership, we probably won't go for them. But he will improve our options if we do sign him. So I'm not going to be against a signing, but I'm not going to say it's not going to be a bit underwhelming, but it would be a decent signing.
Not having the greatest season, though, Malinovskyi. 14 appearances, majority of those has come as sub-appearances. He's rarely started for Atalanta this season. Only 1 goal, 2 assists.
But that came at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So what is it about Malinovskyi? Why can't he get into this Atalanta team?
Couldn't tell you. I think a lot of the time it's he doesn't have the best stamina. He can't usually last 90 minutes. And I don't know about his work rate and stuff like that. But I mean, he's been a mainstay before, but then again, he's been for a couple of years. He's been in and out of the team. So I think he's a good player. He's one of those players, but on his day, he's a very good player. But whether you can get the consistency out of him is another thing.
And maybe it's not even worth even thinking about that he's not a starter for Atalanta, because everyone said that we bought Juventus rejects last January and they turned out to be all right.
That's one thing for Juventus. Can't get in the Juventus team. It's another thing can't get in the Atalanta team.
Well, haven't Atalanta finished above Juventus last couple of years?
I don't know. I think they had a good season a couple of seasons ago, but I don't think they've been above them. They finished above them last season.
Well, they're both in the Champions League, aren't they? I think Juve just crept in, didn't they?
Yeah, they must have been. They finished 4th last season. Yeah, so maybe you got a case. maybe you got a case.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about some potential outgoings. And this one is from Calcio Mercato, talking about Davinson Sanchez, which is all going to get you very excited. And they say Fabio Paratici is ready to offload Davinson Sanchez to bring in Stefan de Vrij from Inter Milan to Tottenham Hotspur in the January transfer window. Obviously, de Vrij's contract ends at the end of the season, along with Milan Skriniar, by the way. And he's actually been performing, I think, a lot better this season than he did maybe opposed to last season. He's starting in the middle of that back three, which would provide really good competition for Eric Dyer. It's about time, we're ready to offload Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, it's been time for a while, and I'll definitely take him in a swap deal for de Vrij 100%, even though de Vrij has 1 year left in his contract and maybe he's not as good. And maybe you could argue Sanchez is younger, could be worth a bit, but I think it's worth the swap deal 100%. If that's on the table, de Vrij's a much better centre back, and he provides really good competition for Eric Dyer, and probably an upgrade as well. As much as is de Vrij the answer potentially, because he's a very good centre back, but there were some reservations about him last season. Seems to be back in form though this season. I still think he's class, so maybe a new environment as well could bring the best out of him.
30 years of age.
Yeah, 30. I mean, 30 is not terribly old for a centre back. He's not young, but it's not like he for a centre back 30. You could easily have 4 or 5 years in him. Look at Thiago Silva. He's 37, and he's still performing pretty well. So I wouldn't look at 30 and think, oh, we can't have him because he's too old.
Yeah, you know what, a centre-back I'd really like to go. I mean, that Zabiani from Dynamo Kiev, I mean, everyone keeps talking about him. I've heard so much about him. Big, tall, strong, ball-playing ability. Dynamo Kiev are just, not going well, obviously, with the circumstances out in Ukraine. I think we should be looking at him, plus someone like a de Vrij.
Yeah,
really
100%. 100%. We need two. We need a younger one and maybe a more established one. 100%. I agree with that.
Next up, we're going to talk about Emerson Royal. This is from Rudy Galetti, and he says Juventus have. Let me just read this to you, and don't fall off your chair in shock. They say Juventus have identified Tottenham Hotspur defender Emerson Royal as their number one target for right wing back, with Juventus ready to try and get him next summer.
Are
you buying that?
Number one
Are
target,
you buying that?
Juventus. Well, it's no wonder they've fallen off a cliff if that's their recruitment policy. I
think Paratici's probably, I've got a really good player for you.
Yeah, exactly. He's using all the contacts that he knows back at Juventus to try and get the best deal. They thought they screwed us with Bentancur and Kulusevski, and we're going to give him back. We're going to do him a favour again, give him Emerson. He's a great player. Take him, 100%. He should be a right back for wing back for years. Cuadrado is 33, and he's still a better wing back than Emerson Royal. I'd be amazed if he's their number one wing back and he wants to and they want to sign him. I mean, they're more than welcome to him. I don't know. The only disappointment thing is it says the summer. Why not January?
Yeah.
Get him as soon as possible. 100%. Get him right away. But I just can't believe. And maybe he would be like fifth choice or something, but I can't believe number one option.
But we always say that defensively he's not too bad, and maybe in the Italian league he might do all right.
I mean, if they're going to a back four, maybe he might be not a bad option. But as wing back in a back five, he just hasn't done it for us.
Well, you know what? If they want to buy, I'm sure they've got a wing back maybe or two that we can take off them.
Cuadrado.
Well, how old is he now?
34
as a wing back.
We've got Perisic on one side.
I know. I don't want Cuadrado on the other side. I mean, the one I would want is probably Dumfries off Inter.
Yeah.
That's the one I want, but we'll see what happens there. But last but not least, Aaron Lennon has hung up his boots for the last time. He has retired from the game. 364 appearances, 30 goals, 77 assists in 10 years of service to Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, I miss that guy running down that right-hand wing with his cutbacks, to the likes of Adebayors, the Robbie Keanes and what have you, Jermaine Defoe's. He was a great servant to Tottenham Hotspur and had some big moments in a Spurs shirt as well. I believe that we never lost when he scored in a game.
Yeah, he was... a bit of a big game player for us, and he was brilliant for many years at Tottenham. And he was definitely, when he was breaking into the team when I was a bit younger, he was one of my favourite players when I was younger. He was exciting. He beat every single fullback that came up against him. He went to World Cups with England. He was their starting winger for a World Cup, and he went to the World Cup in 2006 as well. And he had some brilliant cameos in that tournament. And he was part of the campaign that got us back in the Champions League, and he was brilliant when we played in the Champions League and in European football.
Oh, that run past Mario Yepes,
Yeah.
squaring it to Peter Crouch in the San Siro. I mean, carnage that day.
Unbelievable. He's part of history, ending our winless run against Chelsea, scoring on the 5th of November.
Were you there that day?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the atmosphere that day was just incredible.
Incredible. What a moment in history that was for all Tottenham fans. He was the one who scored the equaliser, and we drew 4-4 at the Emirates.
I was at all three of those games. Absolute scenes.
He was an incredible...
Last-minute winners against Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Manchester United, I think there was one there as well.
He scored... Did he score last minute? I think he scored against Man United, but I can't remember him getting a last-minute winner.
He scored against Arsenal when we beat them 2-1, was it? When Gareth Bale
scored a few goals against
yeah.
Arsenal. He always turned up in big games, and obviously it didn't go too well near the end of his career at Tottenham, which is why we sold him to Everton. But for many years, he was consistently one of our best players, and he was such an exciting player, and he was always brilliant to watch on the wing, on that right wing. He was like you don't get wingers like him anymore. He was definitely a throwback. He was like probably one of the last of his era in terms of being a really orthodox winger, getting to the byline and getting crosses in and things like that.
He wasn't the greatest crosser of the ball, but like the way he cut the ball back, he was second to none.
Occasionally, I think he did start to getting better crosses before injuries really hurt him. But yeah, that was never really his forte. It was just dribbling. His pace was incredible, and he'll be missed. And it was part of a fantastic moment of the club where we started to really get out of our shell of being mid-table and started to get into the European place and stuff. And he was a massive part of that.
Who was the manager that bought him? Was it Martin Jol?
Martin Jol.
Yeah, Martin Jol.
Martin Jol bought him. That's when he made his debut, and he was
1
fantastic.
million off Leeds or something.
Yeah, one of the biggest bargains you'll ever see. He was a proper player. He was brilliant under Harry Redknapp. Under AVB, he was pretty good as well, but it was obviously under Pochettino, it started to go a bit downhill for him. But he was a fantastic servant to the club, spent many years at Tottenham. And
10 years. He never got his testimonial, though.
Shame, but he was one of the best wingers probably in the Premier League era we ever had, you have to say. And good luck in retirement, Aaron. Will be fondly remembered by all the Spurs fans, and wish you good luck for all your future endeavours.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see him back at the club one day, maybe in a coaching role or an ambassadorial role, something like that, alongside a Jermaine Defoe and a Michael Dawson. That would be really nice. But yeah, like my brother said, we wish you all the best for the future, Aaron Lennon, and maybe one day we can get you on the channel and do an interview with you, because that would definitely be up there for us. But thank you everyone for watching the Tottenham update today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.